it's farcical. Welcome to the Carl Pilkington Show.
Well, people say they'd like to hear more from you and I, but I don't see why when you've got this specimen in the room.
I feel like the ringmaster, but the real star is the shaved monkey in a jar that we bring out. Do you know what I mean? That's it. That's the star of the show, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we've had loads of emails, actually, and we've had one from Nige, who's done this brilliant cartoon of Carl on the beach. I think we should sell those as postcards. But someone's beaten us to selling merchandise. If you go to www.cafepress.com/Mr. Pilkington, someone is selling everything with Carl Pilkington's head on it. Now, these are bootleg goods. We're not making any money from it, but I'm strangely proud. I just love to see millions of people wearing a little t-shirt or a baseball cap or drinking out of a mug with his little round head on it. He's made a clock, which is perfect because it fits absolutely, you know what I mean? The sides of the head go right to the edge of the clock because it's perfectly round.
I'd like to see maybe as well those sort of rubber or plastic face masks that you can buy for Halloween with just Carl's face.
Oh, just millions of people all look like Carl. Oh, that would be amazing. What a world that would be.
Cheers for that, love. Yeah, it's Carl Pilkington here, just telling you about Channel 4 on a Friday. You've got new Green Wing, right, that's nearly ready. My name is Earl, and the It Crowd. I mean, sort of being in the comedy business and that, I think it's fair to say I'm qualified to give my opinion, and these three things are funny, so yeah, stay in, watch it, have a good night, have a nice little brew with it, do what you want. At the end of the day, it's your life, isn't it?
Carl Pilkington!
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Still to come, of course, Monkey News and Carl's Diary, excerpts thereof. I wonder if we should have a jingle for questions for Carl, because there's a lot of questions coming in for Carl.
Okay. Oh, chimpanzee, that question's for Carl.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough, that works. Okay. This is from Jim and Bob in Manchester. Carl, if you could talk to any animal, which one would it be and what would you say to it?
Insect, animal, anything, fish, anything.
Well, they said animal, but let's broaden it to anything.
Animal,
creature.
Insect is an animal.
Yeah, no, but I'm just, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm just thinking about.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? I'd probably go for the tortoise.
Okay.
Because it would take a long time to walk away from you while you were talking.
No, just because
most animals would be off straight away.
yeah.
Just because they've lived through a lot. You know what I mean? Through wars and stuff.
Well,
if you get an old one, that's about 100.
Most of them have lived in a box in a garden for 52 years.
No, but you get some that have been about, and even if it's in a box, you can overhear.
They've really travelled, have they?
Yeah.
I mean,
some of them have experienced more than you.
Yeah.
But they've broadened their horizons a bit more than you. They could probably teach you a thing or two, yeah.
And what would you hope to learn from them?
Just history.
Right. From their very specific tortoise perspective. Other emails. We've had a lot of questions about time travel. People are fascinated about your approach to time travel. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but this is a very specific time travel question. If you had a time machine, Carl, to what event in your childhood would you travel back to and why?
What's the point in going back to things that you thought... No, it's just that it's never as good, is it? It's like a place you go on holiday and you go back thinking it'll be as good as the first time. It never is. So I don't believe in going back to places.
What do you understand the question as? Do you think they're asking, would you go back like a ghost and spy? Would you go back and you've got your childhood back, you are that child again, you're in the body, you are the child, or you've got your adult head and experiences on,
Rick, I really don't think Carl was thinking there was any of those variations. No, let's be honest. But now that you've flagged them up,
I think he was thinking of him as he is now in school with a cap on.
yeah.
But
too big for the chairs.
yeah. Come on.
No, I don't think I would go back. It's all happened now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's an email to a podcast for our own amusement.
Well, okay.
Choose an event. Okay, forget the time travel thing.
No, hang on. I think let's clarify one of Ricky's points. What if you could go back and you could live that moment again? How would you do it differently?
There's been times where I've gone, that was a bit out of order or whatever. But then you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I don't want to go back and change stuff because it's like that thing that they go on about, innit, where they blame the butterfly on an earthquake. It's going to happen. If it wasn't that butterfly, it's another one. So why pass the buck?
no regrets. There's nothing in your past you'd want to change or do differently.
What about if you went back and you spied like a ghost on something? You couldn't change anything, but you could have a look at someone and just sort of look like
what?
like Ebenezer Scrooge does, the Ghost of Christmas Past. He goes back and he's sort of like looking at himself dancing and stuff. Or what would you do? What would you go back and have a look at?
Yeah, but you're asking me to change. I don't want to change.
You're not changing, you're just observing.
It's impossible.
All right, I tell
this
you what.
question, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have to do this. It's impossible.
Right, yeah, I nearly died once, didn't I, on an ice pop.
Right.
Right? Now, maybe if I would have died, I'd say, well, let's go back to that, and I won't have an ice pop.
You wouldn't be doing the podcast if you'd have died. You wouldn't be having this email put to you. What are you
That's
talking
absurd.
about?
You're now saying you're rewriting history and then going back to change it.
Yeah.
There's no need. You didn't die.
Well,
And
what-
we've changed it. You can't change anything. You're just going to go back and watch something. Would you like to go back and watch yourself choking on a Mr. Freeze?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't go back now, because I'm all right. I'm not missing them ice pops. So
I don't think you're making the most of this opportunity to fantasise.
I don't see the point in going back in anything. I mean, do you mean go back in time to the point of you can see, like, Rome in its working day?
What, in your childhood? Was Rome about when in your childhood? Were there gladiators
Well,
in your
that's what I'm
childhood?
saying. Everything I've been through, so why see it again?
Forget it. It was just a nice little question.
I mean, that shows the lack of imagination
Right,
in Carl
all right.
Pilkington.
Can
Your
I-
mind can't
all
fathom
right, well-
something unless it's, like, got two heads.
But I don't see the point in doing something twice. Because the thing is, say if there's one good moment when I was about 6 that I loved, I'd then have to go through all the other 20 years again.
Well, why? Why have you imposed that? It's a fantasy. Make it up.
You could
Just
go
say-
back and come back
Yeah,
again.
whiz back and fast forward 35 years.
Nah.
Brilliant. No. Like it was on offer. Like this was really on offer. Move on.
Migrant workers in South China are wearing adult diapers on packed trains heading home for the New Year holiday because they've got no access to the toilet. Many super...
Like that, but that's the same sort of idea, and I'd go there and I'd do my thing, and my mum used to say, "Oh, he's going there, don't look at him," and that, because it put me off. Like cats don't like being watched when they do it.
When they go in their litter tray in the kitchen.
No, they don't like it. I
Look,
tested it
what
again.
are you, just like a little feral kid, just running around and going to the litter tray, covering it up, and then running up the curtain and eating a sweet at the top of the pelmet?
No, but nobody likes being watched, and that's what I'm saying. If you're sat on a train and you're knocking one out and that, and everyone's looking at you, I don't think it'll catch on.
Well, it has caught on.
Has it
They're all
caught
doing
on,
it. They're just sitting there. They're doing, they're reading the paper, doing Sudoku, and they're looking round when they're going. They're thinking, oh, no one knows I'm going. And everyone's thinking that, and everyone's going.
I mean, it's partly because there are 120 million peasants from China's vast rural areas who swarm into the cities for work. And so, that sheer number of people means that the trains...
I mean, what are we getting to? You know what I mean? What's going on in the world that this is happening?
I know.
I mean, people have always had to travel for ages. I just don't understand why there isn't a toilet on it. We're going backwards. We're going backwards, aren't we? Why isn't there a toilet on it?
Well, maybe there is, but maybe people are thinking the queue is going to take forever. If you've got 125 million people
Yeah,
going
but not
back.
everybody wants to go at once. I mean, I know Chinese and all that are like at the forefront of everything that goes on in the world, inventing stuff first, but this isn't one of the best that they've come up with.
What have they invented then, the Chinese? Just
Loads of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, well, no,
Loads
I
of stuff.
was going to ask you. You seem quite educated on the subject. But
They did them cat mop things that I told you about.
brilliant.
Um,
mean,
This
you
was
could've-
where you put mops on the feet of cats, was that right?
Yeah, and they
Brilliant.
wander about the house, clean up and that, wash the floor for you whilst they're pottering about. They've done like hats with umbrellas on them. They've done. I mean, coming up with stuff first.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was gunpowder, but yeah, cats with mops is good as well.
Just a final mention of one of the emails that came through from Phil Hobby in Falmouth in USA. He says, "Hello chaps, just wanted to let you know that I was at a party on Friday and I bought 2 remixes of I Could Eat a Knob at Night on a CD. Let me tell you, I played them at the party. They were a huge success. They were a smash. By the end of the night, the party was hip to the words I Could Eat a Knob at Night. Half of them were even singing along. So big thanks to you, Ricky, Stephen, Carl. Now, what would be ideal, of course, I suppose, is one of the big superstar DJs, if they could drop that into their set. A Carl Cox, a Fatboy Slim,
Tong.
Pete Tong, yeah.
Boy Tom.
He got power, and I'd love to hear him drop it. Maybe
Yeah.
even, no, I suppose Westwood wouldn't be able to put that in. I know he's more of a hip hop guy. But, yeah, so, I mean, if you at any point ever hear I Could Eat a Knob at Night, the remix, at any kind of club event, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Well, one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival Monkey News one day. It is Monkey News. It's you know, it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Carl Pilkington's diary. Oh, he's written it down. Yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just annoyed about something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him, as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
She wanted a haircut, and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her, and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle, and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town, and that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
What, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket? I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us, as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head, and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do what you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
For about 45 minutes.
And yeah, a mate sort of said, "Oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that." He said, "You ought to come to Twiggy's," and I went there, but I didn't go in. It was shut. It was they were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, "Oh, I've come to have a dance." And like, "Oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow." I never went back.
Brilliant. Next. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced they keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they're running out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, "Look, do you mind if we make a programme on you?" And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, "Right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker." Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right, then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been...
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
Goodbye.
"Oh, I feel ill."
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, "Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers." I put it in the bin. New words. As Steve always says, I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word "wew" means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing
Who's
that right?
using that word?
Woo?
Who is
Woo.
using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the wild, like in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't going to solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, "I know I'm about 'cause I dream." Doesn't work for everything 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
I'm not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you put up. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, you'd sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level.
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep, when you're tired.
No,
yeah.
but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's
sleeping.
just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop.
All right, just doing a little advert for Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. You might be going out and that, doing something nice, which, you know, if you are, then fair enough, go out. But I'm just saying, if you're staying in, you've got new Green Wing, right, that's nearly ready. Got My Name is Earl, The It Crowd, all funny stuff and that. Don't know about you, but, you know, I'll be staying in watching it, just having a bit. If you're staying in, put the telly on, do that. If you're going out, go out, have a nice night. See you later.
Carl Pilkington.
Well, it's that time again. If you'd give us the jingle, please.
Oh, chimpanzee day.
Okay, now that surely cannot be fair on anyone's ears listening.
Right, ages ago, right, about the 1950s,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there was this gangster knocking about. And do you know how, like,
Was he called Hairy Fingers?
do you know how, like, a lot of gangsters like to get into gambling and that?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like all his peers and that, all these mates who are like gangsters and stuff, they've all bought horses, right? Like they tech racing and they make money from them and that, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, he
And
was
Chuckles Seagull was no different.
and he, that's a good thing to get into. I might get into a bit of that, right? So he gets himself this horse, right? and there's a big race coming up. That's why he's a bit of a last minute.
And the jockey turns up and it's fine. He's a human jockey and it's fine. Excellent. Okay, well that was another podcast.
So anyway,
please listen.
Hang on,
next.
there's more.
Oh,
hang on. So anyway, this big race is coming up. He's like, I've got to be involved in this because I can make a lot of money out of my horse here.
Choose the jockey wisely, then.
So he says to his mate, he said, "Look, I've got myself a horse and that." He said, "We just need a jockey, get someone sort it out and what have you, so I can get in this race." So
go to the jockey club.
His mate's like, "Yeah, all right, I'll have a word and that, have a look round and that, see if there's anyone decent."
And the good thing about jockeys is there's never been a shortage of jockeys because a lot of them don't make the grade. So there's always too many jockeys to go round.
Always too many human jockeys.
Yeah, there's never a problem getting jockeys.
Fine.
Go on.
So anyway, he comes
Was that
back.
true in the 50s as well?
It's always been true.
It's always been true. It's always just wanted to clarify
There's no lack of jockeys.
So
it's sort of close shot. People are trying to do it and they don't make.
From your knowledge, there was not like in 1951 a shortage of jockeys for just 1 year.
Absolutely never. I'd have known about
Okay,
that.
fine,
I'm quite keen.
Right.
Go on.
So anyway, right. So his mate says, "Look, I'm having a problem getting a jockey."
Seems odd because Ricky's just been saying. He's just been saying there's not a problem.
What do you mean? So
Just because the main problem was
Go on.
a lot of jockeys were aware of this gangster and were saying, "I'm not getting involved with this guy. The chances are I won't get paid. You know, he's a gangster. It's not worth it."
you would do it if it was a gangster asking you. You'd be scared of the consequences.
So anyway, he's saying, "Look, don't be coming to me with problems and that, right? I've got the horse. I want it in the race. Sort it out." So they're like, "Oh, but boss," and he's like, "Don't give me any of that." Go
Exactly.
sort it out."
They do what he says, so any jockey would do it. Go on.
So anyway, so the day before,
The big race, yeah. Left it to the last minute, okay, but
Yeah.
fine.
and he says, have you got a jockey then? They're like, "Yeah, but," and he's going, "Don't worry about it. Have you got a jockey?" "Yeah, but," and he's like, "Well, look."
He wants to say, sure. Yeah.
So
they won't
he's saying, "Has he ridden the horses before and that?" He said, "Well, yeah, he has, but mainly," and he's like, "Look, brilliant." And he goes, "Yeah, but mainly." No, like in the circus and that, he'd worked with horses and stuff.
in the
apparently.
circus.
It's fine.
So he's like, that's enough. That's all I need to know.
Well, they'd be too heavy because circus
Said
people are
so-
quite built, aren't they? They're
said
a
so-
bit heavier than the jockey because the jockeys are about 8.5 stone.
He said, "Brilliant, get him down there and that, right?"
Yeah.
Anyway, the race happens.
He didn't want to meet him beforehand. He wasn't worried.
No
about
point, not
No,
bothered.
no.
As far as he's concerned,
It's all sorted.
he's putting his money on it and what have you.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
What happened is they were trying to make him put on the jockey outfit,
Yeah.
but for some reason it didn't fit that well.
Sleeves
And that-
too
it was-
short,
it was
legs too long.
It's that sort of problem.
Okay.
So they let him, wear his stuff that he wore in the circus and that because it's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's happy with.
Yeah.
Anyway, race starts and what have you. This horse straight out of the trap and that high speed, right? This jockey's got a really big grin on his face. He's loving it, right? Everyone's cheering, going, "Who's this? Who's this jockey?"
Yeah.
It's amazing. Never seen him before, and yet look at him.
But they can see his face clearly.
Anyway, gangster's happy in that because he's won.
But I just want to say the crowd can see the jockey, can they?
What? Fast and what have
The
you.
blur, it's a blur. It's all a blur.
He's good at it. I mean, apparently he was
Right.
close to falling off, and people were like, he's gone, he's a goner.
Right.
He's got such a good reach that he managed to grab hold of
Oh,
the...
sure.
good reach. Oh.
And
Right,
well, they
so-
could tell he was smiling. They could tell he was smiling, but they couldn't see the detail of his face. Is that right? Just
well,
to clarify
it's just blur and that. and
Sure,
just
but
saw
they could
big
tell he was
teeth.
smiling. Yeah,
yeah.
they knew he was happy.
At the end of it, do you know, like the winner sort of rides around the crowd bit,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Sort of, show off and what have you.
Yeah,
And all the women are there, and do you know, like women are all dolled up at these events.
sure.
They've all got big hats on.
Sometimes they got fruit on those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right.
And one of the women,
In
one
the
of the
50s,
women,
particularly, Carmen Miranda was very popular. Yeah.
one of the women had like you say, fruit and what have you on it,
Yeah.
a little banana.
Right. Some kind of
They're
Cuban
not real.
woman.
They're not real though. The hats. They're
It's not real fruit, is it?
No, of
Yeah.
course not. Never.
So
But I don't know
really-
who. I thought they wore those sort of kind of Cuban
Yeah, but
entertainment
even,
shows. I didn't realise they wore them at
but
events.
even if you might have a hat with fruit, and it's sort of joke, but it's fake fruit because it would
Yeah.
perish. It
well,
would. but-
this jockey didn't understand that. He'd never seen false fruit.
I don't understand.
But why did the jockey suddenly? Why was he so desperate for fruit? I don't understand.
So anyway, meanwhile, the gangster's collecting his 500 quid winnings.
Yeah.
Right? He's over the moon.
Yeah,
He kicks off because of this woman with the fruit.
yeah. I don't understand. I still don't
I
understand
don't
why the
understand.
jockey would go.
Everyone noticed. Jockey, little monkey fella.
Oh, that makes sense. If he was a monkey, that would make sense.
Yeah.
What year was this? Because I want to.
It was 1950s, and that's where the saying comes from about, like in Cockney slang, 500 quid is a monkey. He sort of put, he put a monkey on it. And it all goes back to the time when...
So this happened in England?
In this country, yeah.
It happened in England. So
1950s.
someone could well still be alive that we could easily
yeah.
contact. That
well,
would
that's it.
confirm
We
that,
always,
'cause they
you
were
know,
at the
there's no
event.
time length on this Monkey News if you've got any, if it's history, you know, if it goes back...
Or if it's
years
made
ago,
up, bullshit.
Just send it in.
If it's
to,
bollocks,
If you've got
send
any
it in.
bollocks
If it's
that
absolute
you wanna
bollocks,
send in.
please send it in.
That's this week's Monkey News.
RickyGervais.com. Well, that's the end of the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Only 2 more to go. 1 more hour of the drivel that is the thoughts of Chairman Pilkington, or Dilkington, as he should now be known. This podcast was brought to you by Positive Internet. Those great guys at Positive Internet host the world's #1 podcast. It's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
If you want to get in touch, remember it's podcast@rickygervais.com.
And Carl Pilkington.
All right.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to number 11 in our series of 12 podcasts with me, Ricky Gervais. Hello, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Carl Pilkington.
All right.
Now, Carl, you have become a phenomenon. Okay? Right. This is a news story that's gone everywhere. It started, I think, in New York, Reuters, and then that's been taken up by every Reuters network everywhere. India, all over Australia, England. Okay, here it is. The headline is, Podcast Makes Britain an Unlikely Internet Icon. Britain there, Briton. Okay? Now, this is the story by Mark Egan, and it came out of New York originally. Unemployed British radio producer Carl Pilkington has become an unlikely superstar by using the medium of podcasting for his bizarre statement about eating an animal's private parts. Remember that?
Yeah, it was more about, like, that reality show.
Well, it says that here. It was during a discussion on the
Yeah.
Gervais show about a reality contestants were asked to eat an animal's penis. Pilkington made internet history while talking about this, it says, right? First, he said he could not eat an animal's penis in the morning because he had a delicate stomach. He then proclaimed, using the British slang for penis, I could eat a knob at night. Okay? His knob soundbite has become so popular that a Google search for I could eat a knob at night yields more than 500,000 listings, okay? Among them are T-shirts featuring the slogan, okay, and Pilkington's bald head, selling for $17.
Why did I have to make a point about your bald head?
I don't know. Why is that getting a little mention?
Wow!
That doesn't matter. See the T-shirt. Have a look at it. I mean, what is bald? I'm not buying one then. It's not going to make any difference. Either you want a T-shirt with me head on or you don't. It's not an issue.
All it says is,
But
among
also
them are
all these-
T-shirts featuring the slogan and Pilkington's bald head. I also liked it when it said, Pilkington plays the village idiot on the Ricky Gervais show, okay? Now, plays the village idiot suggests that he thinks to being a village idiot. The problem is, the fact that you're not a character, to me, suggests that you are just a village idiot.
A global village idiot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now...
Just on the websites, though, when it said there's loads of websites about eating a knob at night,
Yeah.
have they looked at each website and gone, yeah, that's to do with the podcast?
Yeah.
Or is it just like gays and that saying, oh, I love a bit of knob at night?
It's a valid question.
It's a valid question. That's why you're an internet icon, Carl, because you say things like that. After Gervais mused on the show that the soundbite could be used in a dance remix, it took just a few days for the internet to be awash with songs using the soundbite as a hook. So what do you think of that, Carl?
Oh, is it big in India?
Well, I don't know. It goes around the world. This is a story.
I know, but I
that's
just
showing
can't
the
believe
world.
the problems that if I was in India, I wouldn't be getting upset about someone in London talking about a knob at night with the problems they've got.
Well, I don't think anyone's getting upset in India.
No,
He's
but
just saying that the
it's saying
information
everyone's-
spread
I
to the
can't
world.
imagine people walking around India. Have you heard that song, Knob at Night? I mean, with they're hungry and that, and it's dusty and everything.
That's your image of India, is it? They're hungry and it's dusty.
I assume it's, the parts of India that aren't dusty and in poverty. There is a lot of poverty in India, but there's also,
Yeah, but these
it's
parts
still
of
a major civilization, and the people that live in apartments with computers, they probably might tune in.
But I don't think it's an issue all over the world, is it? Because there's some places where they eat dogs. They'd go, no, at night, not a problem. Might not be a bad thing. You go, why is that out on a T-shirt? I had one last Wednesday. Not an issue. What do you mean? No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, if there are cannibals listening, if there's, in places that you wouldn't travel to, and they get hold of a little laptop and an iPod, and they're listening to that, I Can Eat a Knob at Night, then they're going, what's the problem? What's the big deal? We love a knob at night.
Yeah,
we love a little knob at night, yeah. Bollocks in the morning, knob at night. That's the rule.
But what about the fact that they're saying you're a phenomenon? Because when you were, a tiny little round-headed mank growing up in Manchester, you could not surely have ever anticipated that you would one day be described as a phenomenon, an international phenomenon.
But, at the end of the day, I went to that school, with a kid with a big head and webbed hands. Now he should be being talked about.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to be talked about. If you've grown up with a big head and webbed hands, the last thing you want to be is talked about. He wants to put on
to blend into society.
He wants to put on a bit of a pair of mittens and paint his head like a crash helmet, so people think, it looks like a big head, but it's probably just a crash helmet.
Yeah, just go about his business.
Yeah,
unnoticed.
Won't get stopped on a bike or anything.
Yeah, but I say if you've got something that's a bit weird, use it.
That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what me and Steve are doing. We have got something that's a bit weird, and we're using it. And I want to speak to the people all around the world. Thanks for listening. But how famous can you make Carl Pilkington? Are you a journalist? Please write about this for people who talk about Carl Pilkington. Put a little poster up in your window. I love Carl Pilkington. Print a badge. Give it away. Email your friends. Tell one person about this podcast and let them discover the amazing beauty that is Carl Pilkington's mind.
Right.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back. I'm here to tell you about Friday night comedies on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. New Green Wing, it's nearly ready. My Name is Earl and The It Crowd, the great new comedy from creator of Father Ted. Get your ass to Mars. Friday night comedy this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. I'll be back. Uzi 9mm. Cause I did it a divorce.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
As ever, Rick, there are hundreds and thousands of emails coming in. People contributing in all kinds of ways, and little video clips that they think might be of interest. And of course, as ever, lots of questions for Carl as well, just to sort of try and tap into his brain, see what's going on there. Question from Jade Ramira. Carl, what would you change if you were in charge of what kids are taught in school? Right, because your school experience was a bit iffy. You got very bored, didn't you? You got very disillusioned by school.
Yeah. What I'd do, right, is instead of sort of teaching kids about 2 and 2 and that, which is 4, right?
Well done.
Show off.
I think they should be asked more questions that make them think rather than something that has just got an answer.
I totally agree.
Right? So,
to teaching them the quest for knowledge, inflaming their imagination.
But just freaking them out a bit as well. Just going like...
See, I knew that's where it was going. Because as soon as you started talking, Rick, I was thinking you're thinking some of the big existential or philosophical questions. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to interact with other humans? To be a humanist?